Hi, I'm Melissa,
And I'm Matt.
and we are Adventures with the Lomans for our YouTube channel, and we love to have adventures.
And recently we went on a little bit of an adventure to the state of Arkansas to celebrate our 24th anniversary. We did a little bit of hiking and exploring of a couple of state parks, and we just wanted to share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we live in Oklahoma, so it's a nice quick trip. We went to Petit Jean State Park on this trip. The locals call it Petit Jean. I think it has some other names.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a story behind that, kind of a little love story. And we'll talk about that somewhat, but that's something that you will want to see in the plaque that they have and a little bit of story behind the name of the park.
Yes, so we stayed in Russellville, Arkansas, which was about a 25 to 30-minute drive into the park. You could also stay in Conway if you were going the opposite way, and that would be closer to a 40-minute drive. But, it's just a really great location in between those towns. But you also can stay in the park. So if you want to stay in the park, they do have 24 rooms in a lodge. They have 33 cabins that you can rent and 125 campsites.
Yeah, and a lot of other things that they have to offer. Again, we would just reference to find out more detail about the lodge and the campsites and all the different things that they have. Since we didn't really stay there, we don't want to talk too much about that, but we would just say go to Arkansas State Parks and you can kind of look up really more of the amenities and the availabilities and things like that.
So the first thing we actually did as we were coming into the park from Russellville was we stopped at an overlook, a scenic overlook, and it was called
Palisade.
Palisade Overlook. Very beautiful, very
Just
beautiful.
right
view.
by the sign, one of the
state park
signs of
yeah.
the entrances.
And so that was a great first stop. This is an overlook at Petit Jean State Park, or Petit Jean, or Petit Jean. I don't know how to say it. And then we went on to the visitor center.
Yeah, the visitor center was very nice, very new. I think it's only like 2 or 3 years old. They were very helpful at the visitor center, giving us some tips on maybe where we wanted to start first, and as far as just being more efficient as far as the travel through the park and what to see. Again, very very helpful. Nice facilities. Good restroom facilities. There's a nice lake at the lodge.
Great view too.
Yeah,
that you
beautiful
could
view.
You could stay there a long time if you wanted to rent canoes or kayaks or something. We did not do that, but if we had more time, we would have.
Yeah, could have spent more time there.
For sure.
Again, very helpful people. Nice little souvenir area as well if you wanted to pick up anything.
Yeah, and actually, just they wrote on our map for us, and we kind of numbered the order of everything we wanted to do and planned out our day with them, which was really nice.
Yeah. So from the visitor center, they sent us out and they warned us and told us, and it's a good tip, that the first thing that we wanted to see was probably Stout's Point. That's where the Petit Jean gravesite is. And again, the namesake, and you'll find out more about why it's called that and the little love story there. It's also a little site where you can see a marker, and they talk about the Trail of Tears. And the Arkansas River you can view it from there, and just some amazing things that you can see. But the big tip that we got was it's about 5 miles, if you watch your odometer, 4 to 5 miles to Stout Point, and you're actually going out of the park. So you're driving a ways and you think, wow, am I ever going to see it? Did I miss it? And so it's important to watch your odometer and look for the signs for Stout Park. It is there.
I think it was about exactly 5 miles. There is just a slight sign that says Petit Jean Grave. It's still owned by the park, but even though it is outside of the park. We loved the views from here. We loved going out onto some rocks that were just beyond the deck that was built there, and just giant rocks that you could just safely walk around on and just feel like you're exploring a little bit more. The whole area was really neat. You could spend quite a bit of time there. Um, on the way back from there, we took advantage of stopping at, there's like a fudge and ice cream store with some souvenirs. There's a coffee shop with some souvenirs. There's even a car museum, which was kind of random.
We didn't stop.
We did not stop at that. They did give us a coupon to get in one free person. There's just some random little things in that 5 mile stretch that it makes it feel a little bit more like a national park, because you have other options to eat and to souvenir shop and things like that. So that's pretty cool. This is the Petit Jean's grave site, or Petit Jean. It's a bit of a drive away from the visitor center. Wow, this is absolutely beautiful. Arkansas River. So pretty.
So after we went to the Stout Point and coming back from the Little Fudge Shop and all of the things that we mentioned before, as you drive back past the visitor center, there's a little place called Davies Bridge, and it's a bridge that you cross over, and you take Red Bluff Drive. And Red Bluff Drive takes you to some overlooks. You want to tell them?
Yeah, it's a gravel road, I will tell you that. It's not a super long gravel road, but at the very end of it, there are 2 overlooks. And so the first overlook was called M.A. Richter Memorial Overlook, and that was really pretty, just to get another view. I want to go back in the fall. It would be really, really pretty in the fall. And then the next overlook was the CCC overlook, and I'll put some pictures and video in here of these, but that one, we got to go out on some rocks again. There's a beautiful, kind of like a hawksbill looking rock that you could go stand over on and get a nice side view picture. Just some really neat rocks and crags and stuff there.
A lot of places to stand and a lot of different angles you can take pictures of, and different views that you can look over. The rocks that you can see, the trees. You're up there where the birds are kind of flying around, the kind of vultures, some of them, but they were flying around pretty close and you could see them. That's how high up it felt. A lot of places to be very careful. Watch your footing, watch your step as you're taking pictures, because there's not a lot of guardrails or anything like that around. But it's really, really cool place to kind of walk around and take
tip
pictures.
that we always do is to bring a hiking stick. It just really does help give you that third point of contact with the ground. And we used it so much. One day our shoulders kind of get a little sore from stabbing the ground with it, but it's definitely good to have. When we completed that gravel loop after those 2 overlooks, it took us to the map will say 2 things. It'll say Turtle Rocks, or it'll say Rock House Cave. They're kind of one and the same, because you're going to see the Turtle Rocks as you walk to Rock House Cave. It's only a 1/4 mile little trek, but you're walking over rocks that look like tortoise shells. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So I'll put the pictures in as that.
Yeah, great picture opportunity for that. And then, like she said, it's a very easy hike for most anybody. Very short hike. Made it real enjoyable.
And the Rock House Cave was cool as well. That's where you want a flashlight or a headlight or something, because there are some Indian writing, some petroglyphs in there. You see a sign when you walk in telling you what to expect, and they're kind of in the back left, and you'll get to see a few of those things that are left over. The terrain on this was weird. It was we saw some cactuses and lots of sand. It almost felt desert-like.
Yeah, and the cave is really large. A lot of people can get in there at one time, even though we were the only two there at the time. That's one thing that was really interesting about this park. Besides the Cedar Falls trail that we took, which seemed to be the most popular one, we never saw anybody else on any of the trails. So we had them pretty much to ourselves.
We were also there on a Thursday, and I assume it gets busier over the weekend. And it was hot. We were there in late June. It was in the upper 80s or low 90s. All the trails are shaded though that we were on, so that was super nice. And I would say honestly, the only problem was the humidity. We sweat a lot. Like it was very humid.
Especially with a backpack on. It really gets
Yeah. So after we did the little loop of the gravel road and all of those things, we went to have some lunch at the lodge, which is so beautiful. Great view, good food.
Yeah, it was good food. Food they had to offer was chicken breast. I think I had the 2 pork chops. She had the chicken strips. So kind of country cooking type food.
And I will say good prices. I had so many chicken strips, way more than I could eat with fries, and it was $12. I think your pork chops was
Like
15 or
15.
16. So yeah, but the view is amazing. You get to sit there, and I would really almost call this lodge another scenic overlook because they have a really nice back patio area that you could sit and enjoy the view if you're not a big hiker. But that behind the lodge is where you will find the trail for the Cedar Falls Trail. Like he said, is the most popular trail there, and it's a 2-mile down and back, and it's considered strenuous.
Yeah, and definitely when you consider this one strenuous, it's not for if you're mobility impaired at all. This is not a good trail for you. There's a lot of down in the first 25% of the trail, mostly rock, a lot of rock steps because of the CCC, the way they built it. But really got to watch your footing and watch where your next step's going to be, et cetera, et cetera. And this especially is a hike that extra walking stick is very important to have. Then once you get down from there, it's not too bad. It's not very strenuous once you get down for that first 25% until you get to the falls. And then if you want to get over to the falls, which I did, and hopefully we'll have pictures and maybe a little video of that, it was really neat. The falls weren't flowing that much, but they were still flowing, and it was kind of cool to get to go behind the falls and get close to the water and where it was falling. But there is a little bit more treacherous steps.
Here I am behind the falls. Got behind them here. Pretty neat. A little treacherous getting over here, but not too bad. Kind of fun.
He's behind the falls. Yay. Good job.
Getting over once you're at the pool and the falls itself, but it's doable, very doable.
We did not swim. Nobody was swimming when we were there. I've heard you can. I don't know. I really recommend it.
Yeah, we had heard that there was some runoff from farmland, so you might have some possible pesticides and things like
Cedar
that.
Falls Creek runs into Cedar Falls, which
what we had heard.
I did remember reading there were over 200 steps to go down, and then you got to go back up those 200 steps. So
yeah, what goes down must come up.
Yeah, so it was worth it. It was a great trail. There's some other areas there that you can diverge off and take multiple other trails if you wish, but we just did the 2 miles on that, and yeah, it was really good.
So if you don't want to take the trail and go all the way down to the falls, there is an overlook that's not too far past the lodge, Mather's Lodge, that you can drive off and see. It's a nice Trex decking to where you can just walk right to the overlook and take a nice view of down where the falls are. you are a pretty good distance away from the falls, but if you have some binoculars or you just
Yeah, I'll
have good
put a picture
eyes,
here.
you might be able to see it a little
It's
bit
still
better.
really cool to see. And what's cool is there's a really cool amphitheater effect. Like you can hear people's conversations way down below up top because of the way that sound bounces around. So that was cool. We did see some people struggling to come back up the deck. So
Yeah, it's
an uphill.
it's a decline all the way down to the overlook, and then it's an incline all the way back. So you have just be prepared for that. But it wasn't super strenuous, again, if you don't have too many mobility
Right.
issues.
And I say even if you go down to the falls, it's still cool to see from up above.
Yeah.
The last trail that we did of the day was called the Seven Hollows Trail. Now, this is a 4.5 mile trail, but we did not have it within us to do all 4.5 miles by the end of the day. And we really just wanted to go to the Natural Bridge. So the Natural Bridge was 1.3 miles there and then 1.3 miles back. But there are a lot of really cool things to see if you do the full 4.5 mile loop with the grotto and some different things. The Natural Bridge was definitely worth it. This was a different trail. It started off as sand, it turned to rock, it went to dirt, and then there was boulders. And all along the way, like after the first, I don't know, half, 3/4 mile, so there's ferns and moss and just really interesting vegetation.
Some parts of that trail were very easy, easy to walk, very little difficulty. Then there were other parts that it did become kind of strenuous. Again, kind of a very mixed bag on
Yeah,
that.
and they called it moderate to strenuous.
Yeah, but a lot of fun, a lot of opportunity to climb some rocks once you get to the bridge, the natural bridge. One thing that I did want to mention overall, this park did a fantastic job of marking all of the trails. It's very difficult to get lost if you're paying attention at all. They're very well marked, the trees, the colors. Even especially this one gave you A, B, C markers where you knew exactly how many miles and how close you were to the land bridge.
It was, I think, every half mile they put one of those letters, which was really nice. It's always good. So we spent one day in this park. We very easily could have spent 2 days or more, but one day is all we had allotted. I mean, it was a full day that we were there, and we were tired by the end, so that's why it would have been great to space it out. There were several things that we didn't get to see that we would have liked to have. There is a cabin that is a pioneer cabin. There's a CCC water tower. There were several other trails that we did not get to go on. But some of them are like really long, like a 12-mile trail. We're never going to do a 12-mile trail, but there's one that was a bear cave trail that was only a 1/4 mile. We probably should have done that one.
We won't do a 12-mile trail on purpose.
Right. Yeah, for sure. There were several amenities that you could also enjoy, like the pool, the tennis courts, the basketball, and stuff like that. The lake, yes. I think for sure we would want to do the lake, and it needed to be probably a little cooler for us to be out of the shade. But great park. I highly recommend it. In my opinion, it's my favorite state park. I don't know where it ranks for you, but
yeah, it was really, really a very nice state park. Very well marked, like I said, and very helpful people. I mean, I don't know what else you could have added to it to make it any better.
yeah. So thank you for watching. We are also making a video here for Devil's Den State Park in Arkansas. So check that out on YouTube as well if you're interested in that. And hit the like button, subscribe. We make these, we're starting a new thing here, so we'll be making them pretty often.
Yeah, if
we
you
love
have
to go
any
places.
questions as well, just let us know.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
We'll be happy to answer if we have the answer for you.
Yep, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.